In this video, we're going to do a short introduction to R. First, I like to always use RStudio. R is the programming language. RStudio is an extra app that you can use to write your code. When you first start, you'll only see these three panes. Right here, you can start a new file. So I like to always have a file in RScript because then I can save all of my code and come back to it later. So you'll have your code here. I'm going to go ahead and open my previous code. So this is the code that I saved for our assignment. Let's go back to our notes. So this top part is where you will write all of your code. You can save your code. It's also, notice this little icon right here. This means that you have a data set that's open. Over here we have our environment pane where we can do things like import data. We can clean up all of our existing variables and just start fresh. I like to do that sometimes when I'm not sure why my code isn't working. Okay, you can check your variables and objects there. Down here is the console. You can write code directly into the console, but again, I like to actually save it. But you can write code and see the results here, and then you have plots over there. Okay, so I'm going to write code, and as I write a line of code, I'll hit Control-Enter to run that line of code. We have comments. Anything you start with the pound sign is a comment. R is not going to run it, just ignores it. So to start with, we can use R as a basic calculator. Some things that you could do, like 2 plus 3. Notice if I hit enter down here, now it says 2 plus 3. You ignore the little greater than sign. That's just telling you that that was a new line of code. We'll also talk about what those numbers in the brackets mean. Basically, we're going to ignore those. So the answer of 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay. I could do square root of 9. Square root is a function, which means we put parentheses around it. So we're saying do the square root of 9, or we do 5 squared. Anytime I want to run something, I highlight it and hit Control-Enter, and you can see it did 2 plus 3, the square root of 9, and 5 squared. Now we need to talk about how to save a value or print a value. So we can save or assign a value to use later using two options. We can do this less than and the hyphen, or an equals. The reason they have this is in R, they wanted to do assigning values. Okay, and use the less than and the hyphen. But so many other languages use an equals that they eventually gave into pressure and said, fine, you can do an equals. It doesn't matter. You can do either one. People that have a long history in R will try and do it the more formal way. I will often just use an equal sign. It doesn't matter which one you do. Okay. So when we assign a value, R says, thanks, I'll save that, and it saves it, but it doesn't actually display it for you unless you ask for it again. So let's come back and I'll show you what happens. So if I want to save the value and say a equals 2 and I hit Control-Enter, it will say, okay, you did the code a equals 2, but it doesn't actually do anything. Okay. Or I'm going to say, let's have b be equal to 3. I'm assigning 3 to the value b. And I say, okay, well now let's go ahead and add those together. So I want c to be a new value and I want that to be a plus b. Okay. So again, down here you can see that it ran all of that code, but it hasn't told me what C is. So now I might want to actually know what those values are. So if I want to display or print my values, you can just type it. So if I just, down here in the console or up in my code, if I hit A and hit enter, it will say, oh yeah, A was 2. Okay. Or I could do B and I hit Control-Enter and it says, oh yeah, B was 3. But sometimes when you go through and you're reading someone else's code or you're reading your code later, you might not remember why you just wrote the A there. So again, we like to be a little bit more formal and we can say print C. And if we do the function print, it will say, oh, the value C was 5 because C was A plus B. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Oh, yes, I wanted to show you. If we come back to RStudio, okay, over here in our environment pane, notice it told you once you did it, it said that A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 3 and C is equal to 5. So anytime you save some value or object, it will show up over here in your environment pane. That helps you make sure that it worked the way you thought that it should. So now we have objects. An object is something that we make in R. And we can have numeric or character objects. So if we said x is equal to 5, that means x is a numeric object. It has numbers. But if I say color and I assign red as the color, red is words. Okay, that's called a character object, or sometimes a string if you're working with R. Anytime you're doing text for this string or a character object, you have to put quotations around it to tell R that it is supposed to be text and not numbers. Usually we're going to be using those character objects as labels or variable names. Let's see. Now, a vector is a set of values that we put together. Vectors are how we enter all of our data for our variables. To enter that vector, we use what's called the concatenate function. Concatenate just means to combine. So let's say that we have data on hourly wages and numbers of hours worked for 4 students in this class. What we can do in R is we can say wages, and we're going to assign, or say equals, and we're going to do the C for concatenate, and we put parentheses, and we do 10, 13, 22, and 17. Now it takes those 4 numbers and saves them as one vector, sticks them together. Okay. And I'm going to make a second vector for hours, okay, and enter my data that way. So it's always C, parentheses, and you put in all of your data. So let's come back to R and see what that looks like. So I highlight the text I want to do and I hit Control Enter. Notice it doesn't show anything down here except for the actual code that you gave it. But if you look over here in the environment pane, you can see the hours, and it says it's numeric. It's 4 values long. So it's telling you it's a vector that's 4 values long, and you can see the actual numbers that you put in. And again, wages, it's a numeric vector, 4 values long, and there's the actual value. So you can make sure that it did what you thought it should. Okay. Sometimes we need to combine our vectors into a data frame so that we can put all of our data together. The way that we do that is data frame. So right here we want to combine our vectors. We'll say income. So we have a new data set called income. We're going to make a data frame out of the 2 vectors, wages and hours. So if I run that, just by hitting Control Enter, you can see that now in my environment pane, it says I have an income thing, and it says 4 observations of 2 variables. I can click on it over here in the environment pane, and if I come back over here by my code, now that data set pops up, so you can see here's my wages and the values, here's my hours and the values. I can also say view income if I want to see a data set. And again, it will just bring it up here as a data set by the rest of our code. So data frame lets us put vectors together into one data set. And you can see here, I put what it looks like for your notes. So anything that we save in R is called an object. So this includes numeric objects, our character objects, our vectors, data frames, etc. So that's just a catch-all term for everything that we save. So our values were like when we said A is 2, B is 3. We had vectors for hours, and then we have our whole data frame where we put both vectors together. Now in R, it's really nice because we can import data sets, okay, from our text or CSV files or even Excel files. So if you're doing a text or CSV file, you have to use one option, which is called from text base. But if you want to use an Excel file, you have to say it's from Excel. But there is a package that you have to install first, and I'll show you how to do that later. Okay. Now, let me show you how that could work. So I could import a data set by coming in and saying, I want to do something from text base. That's for my Excel and CSV files. And then I come to where I have my data set stored, and I can just pick one like big sales. I apologize. I realized as I clicked on it that I actually clicked on my saved code, not an Excel file or CSV file. You can see right here that looks like code. So let's cancel that and try again. So if I import my data set from text, and get back to where my data sets are, that's an Excel file, that's an Excel file. But as I come through, you'll see a text document here. This one is named Catalyst. So as I try and open that up, it will give me some different options. Really the only thing you need to check is if you have row names or not. So R thought that this one didn't have file names because this XA-100 confused it, but I did have header names, so I do want to say that I had a header. Notice this is saying this is what your file looked like. This is what is going to import into R for us. So double check that that looks right, double check whether or not you had a heading. Other than that, you probably won't have to worry about anything in this class. There's a strings as factors, which we won't really talk about, but could be useful later on. But just make sure that you have your heading and you click import. Once you do that, if you look down here, it shows you the code that it used to read in. A lot of people will just type this code every time they want to import a data set. I just always go to the import data set option and import it that way. But once you have this code to import it, if I realize that I need to import this data set and I'm going to work on it a couple times for my homework, I probably want to go back and save that in my code file. So I'd copy it, come back to a code file, and paste it. But you don't want the greater than signs in there. That was just what the console puts in. So I would delete those. Okay. And now every time I run this, it will import the data set for me, and I don't have to worry about importing it again. I did want to show you when you import the data set. Let's say I imported a different one. Notice it picks a name for the data set for you, but we're going to have to type our data set names over and over and over in our code. So I often change the name of the data set here. So instead of flower.lengths, I might just say flower. Okay, so you can change the name when you import it. Again, copy your code, come back, paste it in, okay? But don't forget to remove those greater than signs at the beginning. Okay? And then anytime I do that, it will show me what my data set looked like. Now there are some data sets built into R. They're already loaded and they're ready to go. So if you went to R, like one of the data sets that they have is called cars. So if I want to see it, I could just type cars and hit enter, and it will show me, here's your data set cars. It had two variables, speed and distance. If I want to get information on the data set, I would do a question mark cars. And then over here in the help panel, which is also by the plots, it will tell me some information about that data set cars. The next thing is the commands view and head. So view opens the entire data set in a new tab. We looked at that once already. Head just shows you like the head of the data set. It's just the first few lines. I like to do that to make sure I have the right variable names. So when I'm in RStudio and I say I want to view the data set cars, in a new window it pops up. Here's my speed and distance. But the problem is then I have to go back to my code and I have to type, and what if I don't remember how they've spelled the variable name, or I don't remember what the variable names are? I have to keep going back and forth. If I hit head in cars, it will say, oh, here's just the first few lines and it's down here so I can see it while I write my code, and I can see that the variable names are speed and distance. Now, the next thing we have to do is how do we actually reference a variable inside our data set? So my two variables were speed and distance, but dist. If I want to reference one, I'll do cars and I do the $ speed. So this is data set $ variable. If I hit enter, it will print off just the values for speed. So not the entire data set, but just speed. So again, every time it's data set $variable. It's the format that we're going to use for this entire class. We can also use the variable inside other functions. So let's say I want to find the average of the speed values. I'm going to say mean as the function, and then I want the cars data set, the speed variable. Or if I want to make a box plot, I'll do box plot as the function, cars as the data set, dist as the variable that I'm interested in. So let's come back and run that. So when I do mean cars for speed, okay, it tells me the mean was 15.4. And if I do the box plot, it will show up over here in my plots, okay, and there's the box plot of my data. So you might have noticed that on our results, we have this number in the bracket. Okay, that just tells me it's the first number in our results. So like when we looked at the values for cars, the first line had a 1, and then the next line had a 31. That means that this number 17 is the 31st number in my data. That helps some people that are trying to look at really big data sets. For this class, we just completely ignored those numbers in the brackets. It's just telling you how many values is printed so far. Just completely ignored those brackets. Now let's talk about functions. We've been using functions. Functions are the backbone of R. Depending on our function, we can apply it to a numeric object, a character object, a vector, a data set. So sometimes you'll be coding in R and you'll try something and it won't like it, and it's because you actually had a function that wanted a vector, but you gave it a data set, things like that. Sometimes you have to go troubleshoot that. Okay, but so here's some of the examples of functions we've used. Notice the functions always have parentheses. So we'll do square root of 9, print the value C. Data frame, combine wages and hours. So these are all of our functions. We have packages in R. Those are extensions that let you do more than what's programmed into the base version. Your packages only have to be installed once on each computer. Then each time you use it in the future, you just have to load that package. So here's how you would install and load the read Excel package that lets you import data sets. So the first time you want to do it, you'll do install.packages read Excel, and you only have to do that once on your computer. Then every time you want to use it in the future, you have to do library read Excel. But you don't have to worry too much about that because, again, we'll just come to our environment, we'll import our data set, but we just say, if it's an actual Excel file, you'll say from Excel, and then it will do all of that for you. Okay. It will say library read Excel, it will do the data set, all of the code is taken care of for you. Let's say you want to have help. You can find the documentation for any function in R with the question mark function. Okay. So let's say we wanted to get help on box plots. We'll go to RStudio and we type question mark box plots. And you can see that it brings up a lot of information here. I don't really like trying to figure out information from the R documentation. I am much more likely to just go online and search R box plots and find some better information or easier information to understand as a beginner that way. Now, something that's happened to me at least once is I open up RStudio and some of my windows seem to be missing and I start panicking. You come in, one of these are missing, you can go to View, Panes, and Show All Panes, and then everything will be back again.